own investigation. Now, I'm not insinuating there's any fraud or anything like that, so I always ask people, don't hear what I'm not saying. This is just the outline and the procedures when people talk about internal controls, that you have 3 levels of checking on the claim, and it's set up by the statute. Documentation is required by Indiana Code 36265. This is all this about the certifying variety to make sure, hey, I received my stone, I received my uniforms, I received my supplies, or it's also that time I didn't get it, it's a notification to the auditor and then to the commissioners, there's been a breach of contract, there's been something that did not occur. And that has to be done for supplies and for the performance. It's Indiana Code 36265, and then Indiana Code 36266 is for any type of professional services. Now, there are allowable claims out of cycle, or it's also called paid in advance. Specifically, the statute of Indiana Code 36265 and Owen County's ordinance. The statute has 12, the ordinance has 12 specific expenses for Owen County, and the statute has 18 specific expenses. So what you look at, what the auditor would do, and many of these are like utilities, phone bill, credit card, because you don't obviously want the phone shut off, the heat turned off, or anything like that. Those are allowed by statute and by ordinance, but they have to be on there, okay? So if the auditor's office gets that, they go ahead and make that payment, but then you will receive at your next meeting, and approve that, the out of cycle or claims paid in advance. And you have one of those as an example today. Now, the reason I say that, not every emergency, or not ever, if someone, oh, I forgot to turn that in, that does not automatically make that an advance. An emergency in the blacksmith department does not necessarily mean it's an emergency for the auditor's office, okay? They're required to go and check. So if you just kind of forgot to turn in the payment for the pens, they've got to go back to the next cycle. So these are looking at different ones. Appropriations are done by the county council, that's a county fiscal policy, and for the treasury, there should be only under an appropriation. Now, this is not statute, this becomes my personal opinion, so I want to make sure I'm doing that. I think Owen County respectfully should always take a double look, then a triple look of anything that's being expensed in the 50,000 unappropriated. It is my opinion that sometimes in the past, I'm not saying currently, but going back 16, 17, 18, 19, is the possibility that things were put under appropriated that actually would have fit better in an appropriated area.
Can I interrupt you just a second?
Sure.
Apparently YouTube's not working. Are we having issues, or do you see it up?
There was, but Suzanne just came back and says it's on.
It's back on.
Okay, just go more, yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Jim, I just want, we got people out there, we gotta keep happy.
Oh,
I've got half a dozen texts and I,
Thank you, Sam.
But unappropriated, there are a few statutes, and one comes to mind, like in the recorder's office, there's a specific statute that one type of expense the recorder can do is unappropriated. But these are very, very limited. And I just think, and the other part is, if it's put under unappropriated, the county council, you as commissioners, auditor, treasurer, everyone that's trying to monitor the appropriations, if it goes in there, it's not tracked in the same way. It counts against the fund. So purely an opinion, nothing more, but I would suggest that anyone filling out a claim, any entry, any docket, if it's in the unappropriated and it's clearly marked 50000, let's double or let's triple look at those before we categorize those in 2022. The auditor, Under 362612 is essence, it comes in there and charges the claims against the particular appropriation. There's even what would happen is, say, for example, since Greg, Chris, and the sheriff are here, if all three of them bought something together, then the auditor has the authority to appropriate that into all three of those funds. That would happen. For the treasurer, Indiana Code 362612, the county treasurer must notify any officers authorized to draw warrants when there's no money in the treasury. So if there's no money in the fund, there's notification and it stops. So I put it, and it says right there, really it's pretty bold black writing in the statutes. If there's no money in the fund, we stop, but we don't do that. So and then the final part is Owen County had made a resolution specifically by the commissioners. Commissioners, you have requested specifically that, and when you get your claims docket, that you're asking for a duplicate of the bill and invoice so you can make your private investigation. That's extra work, and it has to run to the copier, and I recognize that, but my respectively opinion, which can be ignored, based on the past, based on the fact that we've had some internal controls, if you have that to start off with, you can go ahead and kind of double check that and answer that. And I think that gives us basically three levels. My level's not official, but when I do take the claims docket, I'm also comparing balances. I will try and notify you too. It doesn't really fit in there, but that would add to a fourth level of trying to make sure that nothing gets through in the red. I think those are probably reasonable internal controls. Today, you're paying everything out of the positive balance, and you're paying the positive balance after that. But settlement has come, settlement has went. We have to get to a minimum of May, maybe June, with that balance in the general fund. This is January 4th. We're looking at anywhere from the range of May 17th to June 20th of keeping that positive balance till the new settlement comes in. So, Commissioners, that's kind of a general overview of the claims and where we stand today.
Jim, thank you for all that information and that you provided us. Appreciate that very much. Again, I hope everybody heard Jim stating the fact that the $800,000 that is in our general fund will have to last us into June, possibly July. That is not very much money to operate off of. So additional expenditures, additional appropriations, out of the question. We don't want to go backwards. We have cut staff, cut expenses in every direction that we possibly can to get to where we are today. And I'm going to do my best as far as sitting in this seat to see that continues. And I'm sure our department heads are going to do the same. One thing before we go ahead and make the approval of claims, and Sheila, we've got the resolution in effect for those duplicate copies of invoices. I'm going to request that we make sure that we have those on claim day on Wednesday.
With the docket.
With the docket.
Okay.
And again, I'm not picking on any department. I'm not wanting anybody to do extra work, but it is part of our responsibility. We asked for this 2 years ago with the previous auditor that it never happened. This was done last year, and the reason it probably didn't happen is the mess that we were dealing with throughout 2021. So I'm not going to put any blame on anybody. But if we could, moving forward this year, if we could have copies of all claims and invoices to go with the claim docket on that Wednesday, we can come and pick them up here at the courthouse. These are the actual, are these copies or are these the actual?
Those are the actual.
Right, and that's what's always been presented.
Right.
But if we have them prior to the meeting instead of sitting here, then we have more than an hour to go through them. And I'm not going to pick on I'm not going to pick on the auditor's office, and I'm not patting myself on the back. But at the last meeting, I caught a $1,200 mistake. We were getting ready to send a check out to a company that we don't even do business with. And luckily I caught that. Sheila got it stopped, or otherwise we'd have sent a check out to a company that probably would have cashed our check and never called and said, hey, So those are the kind of things that I think that there's more of those out there, but without looking at the actual invoices, just looking at that docket, it's very hard to determine what's right and what's wrong. So again, I'm not picking on anybody at all. I just want to make sure that we're doing this right. And especially since I'm in charge of internal controls and Polly's sitting out here as a council member that's on that board, and we have a planned meeting by the end of this month to get this thing started. And again, I don't want anybody to take offense to us coming around checking your office. We're not there to pick on you. We're there to make sure that we're doing things right because we've not done it in the past. So with that being said, I'm going to make a motion. I'm sorry, Sheila, go right ahead.
Okay, you had said that I didn't need to print out any of your packet info. Does that include that too, if they're all scanned in and sent to you, or?
Those I want printed out because I'm not going to print out all those at my house. Yeah. The only thing that I want you to do is that, but the rest of the stuff, like we said, I'll do it. That way I don't have duplicates up here. But if you could do that and put it in the box, that would be great. Matter of fact, I would probably recommend those go in an envelope of some kind so they're not where everybody can dig through them. Yeah. Anything else before I, okay. All right, on normal claims for January 4th, 2022, $167.93.26. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second it.
I have a motion by Bob, a second by Dale. All in favor? Aye. And Sam, I'm sorry, but Jim cut into a bunch of the meeting time, so 9:30 is probably not gonna work, but we're gonna be close. Next is the payroll for December 30th, 2021, $226,762.19. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Dale. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next up is out of cycle claims, utilities for December 22nd, 2021, total of $33,106.33. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the utilities at 33,106.33.
Have a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second? Have a second by Dale. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And the last one is the COVID clinic. And that amount is $6,840. Jim, I'm gonna have you touch on this real quick, if you don't care, so we know where we're going forward.
Sure. The COVID clinic, these are primarily independent contractors that would go in there. But if they're working over a period of time that would generally fall kind of what you would consider that full-time work schedule, it would be necessary for an hour lunch. So there would be management. I understand, obviously wanting to keep the COVID clinic open. I mean, from start to whatever that they close it. But it would require whether the COVID clinic may have to adopt hours from 12 to 1 being closed, or the fact of a rotating staffing, whereas like one person at 11 start their lunch, 11:30, 12, and 1. But those would be internal by the management of the COVID clinic, but either one of those two options. But beginning from today, January 4th, working it there, it would be necessity for you as commissioners, that those would be coded 1 hour lunches, not paid lunches where you, like with any other employee, you clock out and clock back in, and that would need to be something you want to take a look at for your payroll, looking ahead. Have addressed that with the health department. I'm not sure as far as which management method they are going to do. And it's not easy, and obviously, environmentally, it's my understanding the COVID numbers are up. I know that they will be very busy, and it's obviously an extremely valuable service. But from a pure management, they're aware of that, and I would expect then next payrolls what be represented from the 4th on would have in essence the true coded 1 hour lunch break.
Thank you, Jim. And again, the reason I brought that up is there had been some discrepancy that these people were getting paid through that lunch period, which is not allowed. This is the final one of those. I cannot adjust this one here because these people have already been told that's how they were getting paid. But from today moving forward, that will no longer happen. They will have to adopt a lunchtime. So Sheila, I'm going to ask you, what do you want us to sign on this? Just the top cover page, because you have all the, right here's fine? Okay. I guess I better make a motion to approve. I'm sorry, guys. Talked so much, I forgot where we were at. So do I have a motion to approve the 68/40/21, or did I do that already?
No, you did not.
Okay, all right, thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Oh, I thought you was making the motion.
I'll make the motion. Let's get through this one. All right, motion by myself, seconded by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, Bob.
Had me confused.
Yeah, I confused myself, so there we go. I'll blame it on Sheila. There was no pink tab on there. No, she does a great job, I tell you. It's outstanding. Okay. Old business, the ARPA plan and expenditures, that's already been approved by the commissioners. That will move on to the council for appropriations. Obviously, we have the premium pay on there. That will be a discussion on their meeting on the 10th. Hopefully, we can get that passed and get this money out to the employees. We'll see. Other than that, we'll move on to new business, commissioner appointments. And let's get back here to my sheet. And we're going to start with the planning and building and GIS manager.
You want the actual resolution?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and read it, Jim.
Got for you. This is our first resolution of the year. It's resolution number 2022-001. Resolution establishing and appointing department heads in Owen County for 2022. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Owen County is charged with the responsibility of appointing persons to serve in a variety of county positions. Whereas the Board of Commissioners desires to appoint, ratify, and confirm the appointment of individuals named on Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen the following. Section 1, terms of appointment. All positions listed in Exhibit A should be appointed by the Owen County Board of Commissioners. Pursuant to Indiana County Resolution 20-0015, all positions in Exhibit A were 2-year appointments. These appointments began on January 1st of 2020 and concluded on December 31st of 2021. All positions in Exhibit A incorporated in this ordinance shall be 2-year appointments. These appointments shall begin on January 1st of 2022 and conclude on December 31st of 2023. All persons listed in Exhibit A shall be considered Owen County employee and shall be entitled to all rights and benefits as any other county employees. It is established from time to time by the Owen County Board of Commissioners and the Owen County County Council. All appointed positions listed in Exhibit A shall be bound by any personnel policy established by Owen County, which are applicable to any other county employee. The Owen County Board of Commissioners has the authority to hire and terminate employment of all persons listed in Exhibit A. Section 2, appointments. The Owen County Board of Commissioners appoint, ratify, and confirm the appointment of all individuals named on Exhibit A. The provisions contained in Exhibit A, entitled Appointments 2022, in its entirety are incorporated and herefore set forth in this resolution, establishing department heads in Owen County for 2022-2023. This resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption and publication by law, passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of Owen County, State of Indiana. Regular meeting held on today's date of the year of 2022. Owen County Board of Commissioners, Gary Burke, President, Robert Curry, Vice President, Delta Boyd, Commissioner, Sheila Reeves, Auditor. The appointments being made on Exhibit A are for Planning and Building Director / GIS Manager. 2, the Emergency Medical Services Director. 3, the Highway Superintendent. 4, Veteran Services Officer. 5, Executive Director of the Owen County Communications Center. 6, Building Inspector Part-Time. And 7, the Maintenance Superintendent.
Thank you, Jim. And before we approve the resolution, we need to approve the positions, and then we can finalize that. So with, first up, Planning and Building Director and GIS Manager, currently in the position is Susan Zimmerman, and I make a motion that we approve that position. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Emergency Medical Service Director, Chris Lunsford. I make a motion that we approve. Mr. Lunsford, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Highway Superintendent, Greg Milton.
I make a motion we appoint Greg.
I second that. All in favor? Aye. Veteran Service Officer, Joel Goldman. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve Joe Goldman.
Do I hear a second?
Aye.
Have a motion by Bob, second by Dale. All in favor? Aye. 911 Communications Center, Kathleen Lamb. Do I hear a motion to approve? I'll make,
Got a motion?
have a motion by Dale. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Part-time Building Inspector, Rick Smeltzer. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion we approve Rick Smeltzer.
Have a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second? Second by Dale. All in favor? Aye. Our maintenance position is open at the present time. We have received a couple applications, so hopefully we can do interviews soon. That will be done in executive session. With those appointments being made, do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 2022-001 and the appointment of department heads for Owen County for 2022, and these appointments will be good through December of 23.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Dale. Do I hear a second? Have a second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. And while we're on this subject, gentlemen, if you don't mind, and it's not in the appointment section, but we have a new contract for our county attorney, which is a 2-year contract at $160,000 a year, which is the same rate that has been for the last 2 years. Unbelievable that he has not asked for a raise for the work the gentleman has done. This county owes him a debt of gratitude for what he has done for us. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve James Bryant's contract with Owen County for $160,000 per year through 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Dale, second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. And Sheila, I don't know if you have
I didn't.
a copy.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I've got one here with, you got one, okay, Jim.
I expect you to have a copy.
Did you check this out, make sure it was okay?
It's quite a detail.
And again, Jim, we appreciate you greatly. And that probably could have fell on down the line, but since we were making appointments, that's the place we should do it. Okay, liaison positions. Sheila, if you've got that sheet, I want to make sure that I've got the same changes. Okay, I do. Thank you. Liaison assignments will be the same for 2022 as they were for 2021. I'll go ahead and run down through here. Clerk is Bob Curry, auditor, myself, treasurer, myself, recorder, Bob Curry, sheriff, Bob Curry, surveyors, Del Dubois, coroners, Del Dubois, assessors, Del Dubois, prosecutor, Bob Curry, extension, Del Dubois, veteran service, Del Dubois, courthouse, all of us, highway, myself, maintenance is Bob Curry, IT, myself, health department, Del Dubois, building, myself, EMS, myself, EMA is Del Dubois, probation, Bob Curry, circuit court, Bob Curry, and 911 coordinator, myself. And obviously, as department heads know, if they have issues, they can always call another commissioner. We'll get things worked out, but we'll keep both the same. All right, moving right along.
You wanna adopt that resolution 2022-01?
Yeah, let me,
You read that other one, we never made that motion. Right?
no, we approved this.
So we,
Yeah,
did we?
Del Dubois, Bob Curry, 3-0.
yeah,
2020,
yeah,
01, okay.
yeah. Dale should have it down there.
Okay.
See, we both messed up this morning.
Boy,
It took a new meeting. All right,
watch out for 1 minute.
so those will be the liaison assignments for 2022. Highway Department. Morning, Greg.
Morning, Commissioners, thank you for the reappointment. I don't have very much today for you. I'd like to speak about, the rebids for bituminous, Jim. Is that prepared where we can get that advertised and for our record service for the year?
We can, my plan is to have the notice for Sheila to get that advertised. It can't be by this Wednesday, but it can be by the next Wednesday, is that correct?
Correct.
So
That was for our oil.
That's for the bituminous is the section B, so it'd be for the oils that we use on the, through our distributor truck and our hole patchers.
So the 6th, so the 13th, if I'm correct, the 13th is when it can be advertised, but by the time schedule, it could not come back to the 20th, it will have to come back to the first meeting in February. That is when we would be able then to open the bids.
That would be great. And then secondly, the one for my, heavy wrecker and medium wrecker service and any extra low boy service that we would need, I would like to bid that this year. And Jim said, that could be prepared.
Be the same time period and everything, advertised on, not this Wednesday, but the following, it'd be the first meeting in February.
Sounds good. And so the public knows that section B that Greg's talking about, that was not, no one bid on that during our previous, letting. So that's the reason that's going back out.
Secondly, Commissioners, I have 4 people out with COVID right now. I'm gonna look for a little bit of guidance in regard to some rules that I would like to see in place at the Highway Department. I'm not quite sure what the sheriff and Chris uses. I haven't had a chance to talk to him this morning, but I was faced with this. And I would like your blessing. I would like for my people to wear masks when they enter our building unless their job is specifically in the building, like the mechanics or the secretaries, when they come into contact with the public. I know I had spoken with Jim several times this weekend in regards to different issues with COVID, and he said that would be up to me with the department as department head, but I wanted to present that with you, to you for your blessing.
It's funny you mentioned that, Greg, because I was gonna make that comment in the commissioner's comments, and I'll go ahead and make it now since you brought it up. I feel that it's up to each individual department on how they want to deal with the mask situation. We all have concerns still. We've got unvaccinated people, not just our own, but citizens coming in and out of your building. So to protect yourself, I will leave that up to the department. I don't know that we necessarily need to put a policy together, but I do agree with what you're asking. Commissioners, do you agree with letting the departments make that decision on their own? Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners. Then going back to the COVID issue, I know there's some new rules out here in regard to quarantines and the bullseye issues and et cetera, but this is what I've been faced with, and I know this within my own department. All 4 of my people told me ahead of time that there is someone in their household that has COVID. They were told to watch their symptoms, and I asked them to be mindful of the other employees. All 4 of those people are the people that now have COVID and have tested positive. What is going to be our outlook when somebody comes in and says somebody in my family has, in my immediate household? All 4 of my people have told me that, they've come down with it.
The CDC standards is 5 days, is that correct?
That was their announcement, I believe, and very recently, 5 days monitoring and then do the testing, with it.
And that's, and don't mean to step in, but it's a little bit confusing
It is.
because it changes like every.
Exactly.
Those new guidelines are 5 days. After the symptoms end, Now, that's a big step, because a lot of people think, oh, I got COVID, I'm in that 5 days. That's not what it says. It's after the symptoms end. And if you look at the symptoms on COVID, it's like 30 pages long. So, like we have an officer out now, but, you know, the time he got tested, he was positive, but he still had symptoms yesterday. So that still counts, you know, he's still.
Right, and it states that, I think, if you still show symptoms, then there's another issue
Another
there.
5 days
Right.
after that, so yeah.
So why don't we do this without, if we can do this, and I'll let Jim tell me what we can and cannot do. We use the 5-day CDC guidelines with a test, negative or positive, from that employee. If they have a positive test, then they have another 5 days. If they have a negative test, then they're back to work.
No, I mean, that seems reasonable. I mean, working with the health
Doesn't
department.
the CDVs, or CD, have, after you come back, have 5 days you have to wear a mask after you come back to work?
Yes.
Huh? I thought they
The
did.
first 5 days is.
It changes all the time.
Symptoms, and then when you come back, if you've been fully vaccinated, you can come back after 5 days, but you have to wear a mask for 5 days.
I didn't see
That was
that.
That's what I heard.
So anyway, and if that's the case, we'll deal with that. But right now, let's do the 5 days, and that employee has to provide your department, elected official, whoever, with a positive or negative test result. At the end, with that information, negative test, they're back to work, positive test, they're off 5 more days. They have to provide you with proof of another test. Is that fair for everyone?
It is to me, but I have one more question in regard to
Okay.
that, Commissioners. This bullseye thing, somebody directly in contact that you know that they've got COVID, that they're positive, that lives within the same household, and that employer reports that to me. Can I say, go get tested?
I do my opinion. If they're in contact with somebody that's tested positive or is positive, I have to go get tested.
I agree with that. And I'm gonna tell you why, because we may have households that the adults have been vaccinated with both shots. They have children in the household that have not been vaccinated, that have got COVID. So they're probably protected, but just because they've been in the same room doesn't mean that they're gonna get it or have it. That's my opinion.
I've done exactly what Sam has said, but I've had somebody challenge me in regard to that, so I need to know where I stand.
Chris, weigh in on this for me. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I just,
I'm purposely sitting here being quiet because we've been following what healthcare worker guidelines are, which is different than what everyone else's are. 5 days after onset of symptoms, if they're COVID, or if they're symptom-free, they can come back to work. But they have to wear a mask for 5 days. That's the guidance that we've been following. My guys have been pretty good about their, said if they, because we come in contact with it all the time.
right,
If I said, okay, you've been exposed, you gotta go home for 10 days, I'd never have anybody on the ambulance, and that's why there's kind of some guidance for healthcare workers. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what we've been doing. I also have been in contact with our medical director out of Methodist, and if there's any question, I would just get a hold of him.
Right.
And he'll say, yeah, they can come back, or no, they probably shouldn't come back right now.
And we kind of refer to our jail nurse who, you know, she's on top of the situation. Basically gotta use common sense.
right. Y'all have to run your departments, I understand that, you have to have employees, so the guidelines that are set up by the CDC or your health board, be a director, I understand it makes perfectly sense to follow those, and so I guess what we're saying is each department has their own set of guidelines and rules, and we're gonna support you as a department on your decision. That way, we're not gonna get an employee coming, calling me, calling Bob, saying, hey, No, whatever Greg says, whatever Sam and Chris say, so on and so forth, that's the rules that we're gonna follow.
We just follow what the CDC say about healthcare workers.
And I think if we stay within those guidelines, we're gonna be fine across the board. Is that correct, Jim?
It is all reasonable.
Okay,
There's more, it'd be something different.
right. And as it changes, we'll,
Adjust it.
yeah, we'll adjust it.
Just know though, as far as saying they have to come back with a negative test, people can test positive up to 60 days after the onset. So, I mean, are you gonna make that guy take personal time or?
Well, we no longer pay for COVID time off, so that's something that we don't do anyway.
And a lot of bars, symptoms, they talk about cough and runny nose, my God, I've had that for 60 years.
Yeah, I've had COVID for 60-some years too, so.
But we really look at if you had a fever, or if you got a fever, if you got a fever and you're feeling bad, I send you straight over to the Southern Board in the jail, or you can go down here to the clinic and get to however you want to do it and get tested. But if you got a fever, you ain't coming in our building.
There you go.
You can,
And everybody's still using their monitors, and that's why we are using them, to keep people healthy. And I hope everybody is still using those. Sam, you've had COVID, firsthand.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. So again, I think we're good staying at those guys. Chris, maybe you're right. Again, I'm not a medical person, so I can't answer all these questions, but the reason I say that is, or try to get some we've got people who's gonna take advantage of the system. We all know that. And I'm doing everything I can to stop that. I'm the type of person that believes if you're gonna go somewhere to go to work, you go there and you go to work. You're not there to try to beat the system or figure out how not to do your job. And that's what this creates for us, for you. So, again, you guys deal with it accordingly, okay?
yeah, because you can't mandate it, I mean.
Exactly.
So it's free choice. but-
Right.
Well, what's good for you may not be good for Greg and Chris, like he says. He's different things, so each department handles herself. I think that's the only good common sense way, like you say, Sam, of handling it.
I guess that we probably should do this, and I'm not asking the guys to do a bunch of work here, but get back to Sheila, your guidelines for your department, so we all are on, so we know what they are. So if I get a call from one of your employees or one of Sam's employees, I can say, no, here's what's required from Sam. Because that will happen.
Have it to you in the morning.
Yeah, because you can't people stay home because you got a call or running on.
Exactly. So if each department could get us back whatever their stipulations are, at least we're all on the same page. And I think that needs to be for every office in the county. So you might want to send out an email, Sheila. And again, I don't mean to be dragging this out, but it's an issue that we have to talk about and deal with.
If an employee calls and doesn't agree with it, where do I send them? Discuss it with the department head will take it to a commissioner. Is that, because we're gonna have people call and argue. We already know.
Well, we can't argue with the CDC guidelines, and that's where we need to anchor this thing to. Again, none of us here are true doctors or health officials, so we have to follow some kind of national guidelines. If we don't, we're all in trouble.
Okay, so an email to all the departments, give internal policies for their departments individually.
Right. Based on how they deal with the guidelines or COVID in general. But people need to know that there is no longer COVID pay. And this has been discussed last year. All right, enough of that.
Commissioners, last thing I have for you that, I've spoke to, you in the past in regard to, the potholes issues we have, and the commission's desire to have, a better winter response. At this point in time, we have one hot box that we use daily. I have received quotes on a new hot box. I'll give those to Jim. And I will just give you my concern in regard. We could use this piece of equipment. I could put it to work tomorrow, but I would like to get through my, at very least February deposit, before I make any purchases. But as requested, I have this in front of you, two quotes, one from Seal Master and one from Southeastern. I believe either company we've done business with for years. If the commissioners were to vote to purchase a hot box, I could work out something that they don't receive pay until February, maybe even March.
Okay, I mean, was there a third company that was asked or no one responded to?
I could not find a third company.
Okay. All right. Well, the normal rule is that the three, if someone is asked and doesn't respond, you do have a quote here from Seal Master. They're located in East Summer Avenue out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Their total quote is $28,200, $28,200. You have a quote here from Southeastern Equipment. Looks like they have the selling branch is located out of Indianapolis, 4591 West 96th Street. Price, looks like here, $28,011.75. Then on the back though, there's a quote on the front page, but then on page 3, it's got a different quote total, and it's got a total amount due of $29,261.75. So there's an equipment on page 1, and then it looks like there's a freight charge, and another charge, and then that has moved it up to $29,261.75. So those are your two quotes.
Jim, I do need to make a correction. I did ask Brandeis. Those are the only two companies that have hot boxes available.
Okay, so there is a third one that was asked.
Yes, but they can't even get one right.
Okay, the auditor just needs that name of that company.
Brandeis.
And Brandeis did not have one. And all three of those companies deal in this type of line of equipment, is that correct?
Yeah.
So you have two responses. Okay, so you have one at $28,200, that is Seal Master, and you have one at $29,261.75, that's Southeastern Equipment, and the third one was unable to provide the equipment.
Greg, and both of these Sourcewell or just one?
One of them is Sourcewell, the one from Southeastern is Sourcewell, the one from Seal Master is not.
They are the lowest quote, okay.
I will say, my preference would be the hot box brand from Seal Master because we have one like it now.
Yeah, that's where we bought the previous one from, and from what I'm aware of.
If you notice, the one that Seal Master is quoting is a new machine, but it is a 2019.
And we've had no issues with the hot box that we have now, correct, that we got from Seal Master that I'm aware of.
We have not done.
Anybody got any questions, concerns? Obviously, this time of year, potholes are a huge issue for us, and they're very hard to deal with in the cold weather, so this lets us cover two areas of the county at the same time as we're taking care of our citizens with hole patching.
Steel Masters was 2019 machine.
It is. It is new.
It's never been used.
No.
I'm gonna go ahead and move forward here and ask for a motion to approve the Seal Master quote. Ask for a motion on that. I'm also gonna add that Greg extend this out to a February, March payment. 30/60, ask the vendor if that is acceptable by them, that we approve this at that time, that Greg gets that approval from the vendor.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Bob, a second by Dale, all in favor? Aye.
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 So yeah, Greg, if you can get that in a February, March payment, or even farther,
Yes.
we'll take advantage of that. Greg does have positive balances in his account, but if we can wait till we get some money in, that will cushion us even a little more, so.
Thank you, commissioners. I have nothing further.
Thank you, Greg. Hopefully we'll have a positive year and keep away from weather disasters. We'll hope for that anyway. Elected officials, department heads, anybody else out there? Sam, got anything else? Chris?
Just that I'll be going to the council, this week, or next week, I'm sorry, for the additional appropriation on that topic.
You've got that locked down and they're sitting there waiting on us to come pick it up and,
They've received I called them, confirmed they received the purchase agreement.
Good. They haven't sold it out from under us yet then.
Not to my knowledge.
And again, if you need help going picking that up, don't hesitate to call one of us. Well, anyone else? Jim, you have anything?
No, nothing.
Sheila? Commissioners?
I hope 2022 keeps going the way it's going. Everybody keeps their foot on the brake and we'll get through this.
We need to have Sheila make a date for a executive session.
We do, once we are exhausted our time for that application. I don't know how, are we still out another week on that, or as soon as we get the time done, one more week, then we'll have her advertise for a special executive session to get that position filled.
Do you wanna schedule it prior to the next commissioners meeting?
Yeah, we could possibly do that at 5 o'clock, if that would work. We should have all apps in by then. Are you guys good with that, doing it at 5 o'clock before our meeting on the 18th, I think it is, or whenever it is?
Yeah, on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, yeah. All right. There's no public comment in the mornings. I still like you, but if I break the rules, I break the rules. I'm gonna agree with Bob. I hope that we can move forward in 2022, positive. We work together as a county. We put the history behind us and we look at a new time, a new era, and we're positive in every direction. And I hope that can happen, and I'm sure that everybody's willing to work for that. So again, thanks for everybody being here, and we'll hope for a great 2022. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everyone.